Hey, how you doing? It's Roger Downs again with Explore with RWD. And this morning we're out on Lake Julian, which is just in South Asheville, just off of Long Shoals Road, or you can get into the park off of Hendersonville Road. But if you want to put your kayak in or your boat, you're gonna have to come in off of Long Shoals. Now I came out here this morning to do a little fishing, but I forgot to check my gear because I got too excited, got ahead of myself. I didn't test it out before I came out on the lake, and nothing but bird nest. It's not the thing you want to have to mess with. Look at that bird nest. That is not what you want to do when you're out in a kayak messing with that. So what I've decided to do is just kind of paddle around and share with you the ins and outs, if you will, and the benefits of coming out on Lake Julian. So as you paddle around Lake Julian, you're gonna see some really beautiful homes. And this is like my dream home, this one right here. I absolutely love that place. So it's right here on the peninsula, overlooking Lake Julian. You can see the mountains in the background, the sunset. This has just gotta be awesome to live in that spot. If that house ever comes up for sale, or whoever owns it wants to sell it, look me up. One of the other things I really like about Lake Julian is how clear it is. Now, I grew up on the Great Lakes in Northeast Ohio, so more specifically Lake Erie. And anytime you go out on that lake, it was always super muddy. It's kind of acquired taste if you're gonna go swimming in it. But when you come out here to Lake Julian, if you look down, you can literally see right to the bottom. And sometimes you'll see fish swim underneath your boat, which will frustrate you if you're angling for them. But it's just so picturesque and tranquil. It's just such a great lake right in the middle of Asheville. Typically, when I go out to show you new places, I take my DSLRs, but they're not exactly waterproof. I know you can get that casing for them that will allow you to take them out, but I just don't have the $3,000 to spend on that right now, so they're not coming along, because that's how I make my living as a photographer. So, GoPro it is. I've got to take a picture of this. There's a picture in there. Even though I'm just using a GoPro, there's a picture in there, I'm sure. So just give you kind of an idea, there is a little bit of a chop out here when the wind picks up and the waves start to rock your boat, but it isn't that horrible. So you still want to watch the wind conditions though, because the lake can probably get up to a 3 or 4 foot, waves on a really bad windy day, especially as the hurricanes blow through later in the year. So just keep that in mind before you come out in a kayak. Make sure it's kind of a calm, overall easy day where you can maneuver around the lake without too much trouble. So by far, this is my favorite little cove on Lake Julian because there's no homes in here. All you have is woods surrounding you, and you have the quiet of the water lapping, the birds chirping, and every once in a while you'll see a deer wander down to get some water to drink. But overall, you won't have boats come up in here. This is mainly a kayak cove because there's a lot of down limbs and so forth. So guys in bass boats with motors don't want to come in here and ding up their motor on the down trees. But you can certainly sneak up in here in your kayak and just relax. So after I paddle across Lake Julian, typically what I do is I come over and dock up underneath the train trestle that goes into Duke Energy, because you can just kind of relax in here for a little bit, catch your breath before you battle usually against the wind to get back over to the other park so you can load your kayak back up and go home. But it is beautiful here. I just love hanging out and listen to the water lap up against the wood here. Now if you notice, you can't go any further, although I guess if you wanted to step over you could, because it's pretty shallow on the other side. Some beautiful homes up in there as well. Again, I gotta get enough money together to go buy me one of them. Good morning. All right, so that wraps up our little paddling around excursion on Lake Julian for today. Got the kayak all strapped down into the truck, and we're headed on back down to the house. Good times, y'all.